Okay, so we can start. So everybody found the checkbox. I'm going to check this every 5-10 minutes, but I'm going to start this presentation. So if you have questions, you can ask them to the end of this webinar or during the webinar, and I'll check it every few minutes. So hello everybody. My name is Joris van Bossen. I'm an engineer and a BIM consultant for iThesis Belgium. I give trainings, I give support, I do consult, I do help desk also for almost for architect, Revit Structure, Revit MEP, and some Autodesk products. You can follow me on Twitter. There I have a personal account. I only tweet stuff about Autodesk and BIM software. If you have questions, you can send them to support@ithesis.com. And we have also a website for our BIMiTs extensions. You see the link. I will send also the PowerPoint to everybody, so you don't have to write this down. I'll send them after this presentation to you. So today I'm going to present our solutions on Revit. They are called BIMiTs, BIM from Building Information Model, and ETS from iThesis, so BIMiTs extensions. And the idea or the goal for our BIMiTs extensions is to improve your productivity. So all our tools we've created are demands from customers to improve things, to do things quicker, to do things better, and so on. So also when you have things you don't see in this webinar, things you're missing, send them to support@ithesis, send them, post them on Twitter. So it's @BIMiTs for Revit, and we'll see if we can develop them and add them to our extensions. So a little introduction of what we are going to see today. We are going to talk about BIMiTs extensions today. This session will be recorded and sent to you, and also will be posted on YouTube. There was a few weeks ago, there was also a webinar for BIMiTs data link. I'm not going to discuss this today, but this webinar is also available on YouTube. So there is a link in this PowerPoint, or search for BIMiTs data link on YouTube, and you'll find there our webinar of data link. We have a lot of tools. I'm not going to discuss them all. I'm not going to show them all, but we have movies of them. We have an help website of all our tools. I'm going to show the where you can find that help file. So you can check them all, but I'm going to discuss the most important one, the most easy one to use. And yeah, they are grouped in several categories. So we have manage tools, analysis tools, annotate tools, modify tools, view tools, select tools, and one of my favorite ones is the content admin kit. I'll discuss them all. I'm going to check if there are already questions. No? Okay, so we can continue. I'm going to demonstrate a lot in live demonstration, so I'll switch between this PowerPoint and Revit. And I'm going to start with some manage tools. Well, here they are. An easy one, a tool to import a lot of families in one time. I'm going to show it. The project cleanup, you can clean up almost everything, and most of the things are not automatically done with the purge tool of Revit. So I'm going to discuss this also. And one of my favorite ones, the Bim Query. It's a kind of Excel tool in Revit. So you can create a list of information of a certain category, change that information Excel-wise, and then put that data again in your Revit model. So let's start with this one. I'm going to open Revit. I've started a clean a clean model based on the structural Autodesk template. And here you find our tools, BIMiTs and Content Admin Kit. So I'm going to start with some manage tools. First of all, some tools to import a lot of families in one time. So when you see, for example, when I go to the families, the structural columns, you find here some Autodesk families already loaded in them. And here we have a tool to import certain families. There's also an export tool. I'm not going to show this one, but I'm going to show the import tool. And with this import tool, you can select a certain file, a certain path. For example, there's a path linked to our library we've made for the Belgian market. And then you can see you have several files, and I'm going to import some structural columns, for example. So structural columns, a rectangular one, a round one, and also, for example, some steel columns. And of course, to that family, to the HA column and the EPA column, there's a text file. There's a catalog file linked to them. So when you are going to import certain families and you click on import, you will get an extra window where you can select, okay, for the HE column, I want those 3, and for the EPE column, I want those 4 elements. So when you have a catalog file linked to your Revit family, you can select them also. When you click on import, all the families will be imported, of course, when they are made in Revit 2014. You get the message that this will be important. And now you see that all those families are imported in one time. Now I've used only structural columns, but you can select several families from several categories and import them in one time. Another one is the project cleanup. There you can clean up materials, you can clean up rooms and areas and spaces. Now you have to do this with a schedule, but when you have unplaced rooms or spaces or areas, you can use this one to clean them up. View cleanups, this is something I'm going to show. You have line style cleanup, line patterns, and so on and so on. So for example, I want to delete all the analytical views in this project. You can do this one by one, but you can also use the view cleanup. You get a window where you can select the views you want to delete. Yeah. There's also a possibility to load the configuration or to or for example to check the views that are not placed on sheets. So you don't have the problem that you are deleting views that are placed on sheets. So you select the views you want to delete, you click on clean, it will give you an extra message to agree. Voila, I click on OK, and all the views that are selected are deleted in one time. So these are some easy to use tools. The Bim Query Tool, I'm going to open an extra file. I'm going to use, for example, the structural file. Okay. And here you find a file made for the structural part, so with columns and beams and so on. And I want to, I'm going to show you directly some other tools that are in the PowerPoint later on. But for example, when you select a column, you'll notice that there are some extra shared parameters created in this project to calculate the x-coordinate, the y-coordinate and the z-coordinate, also the coordinates at the top of a column. And I want to fill them in one time. So I'm going to do this for all the structural columns in one time. One of the things I'm going to show you later on in detail is a filter tool we've created. But here I'm going to do this on directly on the category. I'm going to show the other options later on. Okay, and directly all my structural columns are selected. And we have created a tool that analyzes certain stuff certain things. For example, the insertion point. So for all the elements that are selected at this moment, I want to see the insertion point. There are also tools to select or to create the total thickness of an element. So for example, when you have a wall, you want to know the total thickness of that wall, of that floor. This is a tool that create a shared parameter and add the value to that shared parameters. So in this case, I'm going to use the insertion point. Several options. How he has to calculate the X, Y, and Z coordinate. Is it based on a relative base point, project base point, or the survey point? I'm going to use, in this case, the project base point. And now he's going to add the values X, Y, and Z to each element that is selected in my model. This is going to take a minute. And then you will see that that this will be filled in. And then I'm going to use the Bim Query Tool. So the Bim Query Tool is a kind of Excel format in Revit. So you'll see all the X, Y, and Z coordinates are filled in. And I want to add a mark to all my columns based on, for example, the column location mark. And for example, I'm going to give an example, the Z coordinate. Now, so I want to see a mark that's filled in H1 with, for example, the Z coordinate. This is an example I'm going to give. I'm using the Bim query. You will see that it's Excel-wise, so you have columns, you have rows, and so on. And now I'm going to select the category. For which category I want to see the information, and I'm going to use the category structural columns. Okay, and now I'll get a list with all the information. It's all the information of that structural column. You will see that some parameters are not available, so of course you cannot change every parameter in Revit, so it's also not possible in the Bim Query Tool. And you'll see two tabs, structural columns and structural column tabs. So these are the type parameters and these are the instance parameters. So you see all information, location, Y, X, Y, Z, column location mark, and so on. So here you find the mark value. First of all, I'm going to change I'm going to order on a certain value. So I want that all the X coordinates, you see, they are not placed alphabetically or numerically. What a difficult word. So I'm going to say, okay, custom sort, and I want to start. The first sort option has to be on the X coordinate, for example. Yeah. And I'm going to add a new sort key, and the second one has to be on the Y coordinate. Now I click on OK, and you will see that it's ordered according to the X coordinate and then to the Y coordinate. Yeah. So you can use filters also if you want to see only the columns that are placed on that X coordinate. I want to see only the objects that have a material, concrete, for example. Okay, and I have a list with only the concrete elements, concrete columns, and so on. So there are filters, there are sorting options, of course. I'm going to show them all. Okay. And now I want to use a formula. So where's the mark value? Mark. I think it's in the beginning. Well, and I want to use here a formula. So the first thing I can do is change the format of that cell. And it's not only text, no, it's a formula I want to fill in. And then you can use the Excel formulas like you know in Excel. You start with equal. And then you're going to select, for example, I'm going to say it's the column location mark, this one. And I'm going to add separator, and then I'm going to add, for example, the Z coordinate. Push enter, and now you see that kind of formula filled in. And like in Excel, you just copy your formula to all the other elements. Well, and it's automatically done. What you can do now is apply and close. So he's going to add that mark to each column. There are duplicate marks, no problem. And when you select a structural column now, you see that the mark is a combination of the column location mark and its Z coordinate. So very, very easy to add formulas and write that result down to a certain parameter. Other things you can do, for example, is add new elements. For example, a new sheet. So I'm going to information of the sheets. When you go to Revit, I'm going to close this one. You'll see I have 6 sheets in this project. Add the information of the sheets. No. And I'm going to copy one. I'm going to copy the sheet A1. I'm going to copy it. And how does it work? You just select copy, select paste, and of course, when you know Revit, every element, every object has its unique ID. So I can't use the same ID, so I'm just going to type new, called its own name and number. So I'm going to change the sheet name. I'm going to, well, the sheet name is new sheet, and the sheet number is A2. When you click on apply and close, you will notice that now there's a new sheet with a new number, with the new name, and of course it's a copy of the existing sheet that was already in my project. So at that moment you can create directly new sheets. It also works for legends, it also works for schedules. So try it out, and yeah, let me know if there's something missing or not working like you want that it's working. Another small thing, just to know, when you have created a list of information, you can save this as an Excel file. Somebody else can add the information, add to for example the mark. You can open that modified Excel file again in Bim Query and then click on apply and close, and all the information is put in Revit. There's also a select and close, small example, structural columns. Just select an element and click on select and close. Now it's selected, so when I go to a view, you will notice that it's somewhere in my project. So there you find your objects. So it's not only to select and add formulas to a certain parameter, you can save it as an Excel file, and you can use it also as a select tool for your project. Are there already any questions about the manage tools? I hope everything is clear at this point. And also let me know what you find about those tools. So give me feedback. You don't have to do this right away, but send me an email, post something on Twitter, email me. Yeah, there are several ways to contact me. Cool. I got no response, so I hope everything is clear. Let's go back to our presentation. So this is something already shown, the analyze tools. So it's to add information to a parameter. This can be a shared parameter, and write that result down. So for example, to know the insertion point of an element, to know the thickness of a wall and a floor, and the result will be written down in a shared parameter, so you can use that information in tags, you can use that information in schedules. So check the movies that are on our website, on our YouTube, if you want to know more information about the Analyze tools. Annotate tools. Yeah, there are tools to renumber things, and we have tools, for example, to create a legend. Okay, let's show this. I'm going to use the architectural file for this one. Yes, proceed. And I'm going to start with Renumber Tools. Yeah, let's create. Let's go to a view where we have. Let's see. Yeah, for example, this view. So Renumber Tools. We have several Renumber tools, like you see here. Renumber by room, Renumber mark parameters, to renumber grids, Renumber room and spaces, and Renumber views on sheets. I'm going to start. I'm not going to demonstrate them all. I'm going to show you the ID of all that Renumber tools. Renumber room space area. So you see all my rooms have a certain number 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and so on. And I want to change. Yeah, I'm going to change the value to, for example, R from room, a point as a separator, and then I want, for example, an alphabetically numbering. Yeah, it has to have one character. No, so if you want two characters, you just put 2 zeros, and I'm going to start with A, and then with one increment, so A, B, C, D, and so on. So the first one will be room A, the second one R, B, R, C, and so on. And you can, there's an option to overwrite the existing mark values. Then you select mark, and then you have only the possibility to select rooms. So when you try to select a wall, that doesn't work. This only works for rooms. You select it, voila, and you start with RA, RB, or C, or D, or E, and so on. Yeah. So it's just selecting one by one, but the mark is based on the formula you've created, and so on. So of course, when you select now that room, you will see that the mark, that the number is changed. Another thing, for example, I want to give the doors a mark with the name of the room in it. So RA, and then door 1. Right? Here it says to be RD for this door, RD, and then RD1, RD2, RD3, RD4, and so on. So I'm going to use renumber by room. Yeah. You can select several categories. Yeah. So only the categories that are room awareness, so a door, a furniture, a window, and so on. He has to check if the door from room or to room, and so he has to use the number of the room, and then add, for example, a separator, and then I want to do a numeric room 1, 2, 3, and so on. I'm going, yeah, I think this is okay. Click on OK, and now you select a door. I'm going to select some doors. And now you'll see that the mark of that door is changed to the number of the room, and then door number 1, door number 3, number 2, 4, and so on and so on. So these are some easy tools to use. and you can use information of your room and add them to a door, for example. Then you have this a tool where you can change the mark for each category. So for example, I want to number the walls. So the prefix has to be 1 point, and I want to know numeric, so wall 1, wall 2, wall 3, and so on. Same thing, you can also add a suffix. You can say, okay, I want 2 numbers. Click on mark, and then you can select every category. But when you start with 1, I'm going to select a wall. Now I only can select walls. No. And then you click on those walls and so on, and then you will see this is wall 01, wall 02. This is not a wall. This is a wall. Wall 04, and so on and so on. So now all those walls are numbered by the formula I wanted. Questions about this one? So use a text fenster, chat window, if you have questions. No reaction. I hope everybody can still hear me. No reactions at all. Okay. Somebody. Okay, I'm going to continue. So I'm not hoping that you're all asleep now. Not sleeping, thank you. So we'll continue. The legend by category, for example. I want to have a list. I want to create a legend. So you see there's no legend at this moment. And I want to create a legend of the furniture. For example, you can also select the doors, the windows, the columns. So you can create a legend of several categories. The first thing you have to do is create a new legend. So this starts like a normal legend. So this is a legend about the, let's say, the furnitures. Okay. And you need an you have to place a legend component to it. So now you can create a legend by category. You select the category you want. For example, furnitures. You can select the view he has to create. So it's a floor plan of the furnitures. And then you can add the parameters you want in that legend. So for example, I want to know the family information, the type parameter, type. For example, also the type mark. If there is a type mark, for example, the keynote, and so on. You can move them up, you can move them down, so you can switch the order of your parameters. You can sort by one of the parameters you have added to your list, and then I'm going to group all the similar types in that legend. If you deactivate this option, you will create a legend of each individual element. You can also rename the column headers. So for example, for type, I don't want to see the, okay, here it's done. This is prepared. So for example, the column family will be translated to the header object. Keynote, for example, to article. So he remembers, if you're going to add this the next time the same parameters, he will remember how it's translated in the past. Okay, and then you click on OK, and now he's going to create the legend. It depends from how many different elements you have. So you see it goes very quick. Of course, those cells are families, so you can change them in advance. But now you see the different headers. So you don't see keynote, you see article, you don't see family, you see the name object. And then you have a floor plan of each individual element. You see the name of it, you see the type, if there is type mark, if there is a keynote, and you see automatically also the count, the number of elements of that, that's type. So it goes quick, it goes very easy, and that's, in this case, you can create legends of several categories. Everything clear? So let's continue. And I'm going to show you some modify tools. A multi-join tool, very easy. You can join several categories in one time. Yeah. And the assembly creator is also a good tool. I'm not going to show you, but there is a link. So when you have the PowerPoint, just click on the link and it will link to direct you to the right movie of the assembly creation. So the modify tools, the join tools. I'm going to open a project where you can see several columns, a wall and a floor. Yeah? And when I'm going to isolate the floor, you see that there are no gaps created for the columns and for the walls. So with the default options of Revit, you can join them one by one. There's a new tool in Revit, of course, to switch join order. Also a good new tool. But with our tool, you can create, you can join several categories in one time. So what I'm going to do, create a selection and then go to multi-join. Now I'm going to say in the first column which categories are have a first priority. So I want in my floor, I want to create gaps for my structural columns and my walls. So my columns and my walls have to have a higher priority than my floor. If there are already joins, you can override them. If it's possible to join them, there's an option that it joins automatically. And then click on join. Well, and now when I isolate the same element, you will see that automatically there are gaps. The columns and my walls are joined to my floor in one time. Yeah, very easy tool, and you can win a lot of time with this one. To show you, I have created a file, and here you can see which objects you can join with another object. So, for example, I have a roof, and a roof can be joined with, for example, wall sweeps, walls, structural columns, generic models, floors, and so on. So in this case, I'm going to I'll give you one example, but there are several examples to it. If you want to try it, I can send you this file, and then you can test whatever you want. So in this case, I want to I'm going to give this roof, this roof. This was the example. I'm going to give this roof a higher priority than all the rest. So you have tools to select all the categories in one time. Click on join. And now when you're going to hide this roof, you will see that this has a high priority, and automatically all the other categories are cut by that roof. No? Generic families, walls, wall sweeps, columns, beams, and so on automatically cut by that one roof. Yeah. Again, everything's clear? Let me know if you are having questions. Let's continue. So some modify tools, some view tools, a section box crop region tools. Yeah, let's try some. I'm going back to that architectural model. I'm going to go to the 3D view. Where's my good 3D view? Here it is. No. And everybody knows the section box. I'm going to activate it so you can see that section box. Yeah. But if you want to create a section box of a certain level, yeah, what can you do? Go to good view and select the elements where you want your section box around it. Then go to BIMiTs, and then you have here resize section box. It creates a window. There's my window. Yeah. And you can say, okay, set that section box around my selection, set from selection, and automatically your section box is adapted to the elements that are selected. If you want, you can make your section box bigger or smaller with a certain step. So for example, 5 meters, and then when you click on the plus, you will see that your section box will be bigger or will be less, yeah, in steps of 500 millimeter, yeah, in every direction. Yeah. Also, a good tool or a nice tool is to create a section box around a room or a space. So here I have some rooms in my project, and I want to create a 3D view around a certain room or space. And I want, for example, I'm going to pick one, the meeting room. I want a selection box around that space. Apply section box, and your section box, to close it, your section box is automatically adapted to that certain room or space. Another example, resize section box. For example, the lunchroom, apply section box, zoom in or out. Well, there is your section box around that room or space. I think everybody knows the standard Revit option to orient the view to a certain floor plan. Also in our tool, we have that same solution. Resize the section box around a certain view. You have floor plans, you have section box, ceiling plans, and so on. So I want to see a floor plan of level 2. And there it is. So with this tool, you can create very quick and the right section box around selected elements, around rooms, around floor plans, ceiling plans, sections, and so on. So a very nice tool to use to create very quick your 3D views. The crop region tools, also a good one. So for example, I'm going to use level 0, level 1, and level 2. And I want my crop region around certain elements. Again, you can select some tools. Yeah? And then with, let's say, here they are. You can say crop region from selection. And automatically, yeah, there's also an option to add a certain offset. I want 1 meter around my selection. Apply, and your crop region is automatically made around your selection. And now I want that same selection in another view. So I want in level 1 that same selection, the same crop region. You have also the possibility to match crop regions. And I want to see the crop region of floor plan level 1, level 0. Okay, and your crop region is modified, is the same crop region as you have, for example, in level 1 and level 0. Yeah? Same for level 2. I have already a crop region, so I'm going to deactivate it. And then when you select match crop region, level 0, okay, you have that same crop region around that same area of elements that are selected in level 0. So with those tools you can create very quick the views you want to place on your sheet, to print your options, to print your views, and they are all the same. Now, there are other tools, so yeah, see our movies, check our movies, try them out, and let me know if they're working good, if you're missing something, if you want to modify a tool. We listen to your demands. Yeah, of course we have also certain zoom tools to zoom to a selection, zoom to a room or a space. We have possibilities to add, to put off directly certain categories. Well, okay, deactivate. Okay, here's a view template. So when you don't have a view template, you can, for example, say, okay, I want to shut off the category grids, shut off the sections, and so on. Put them on again. So very easy tools to use, but they are very quick, and so you don't have to go each time to the visibility graphic override window, look for the right category. Now with those tools you can very quick put some categories off or on. Okay, view tools. Selection tools. Now, I've used them before, but I'm going to give you another example. Quick select tools, also very handy. So let's start with this one. I'm going to use, again, the structural file, but you can use it also in architectural or MEP files. So filter tools, for example, I want to select all the structural framings with a cut length longer than a certain value. So here you can say, okay, I want to select on category. So you see when you open a category, you see the category, you see your families, you see your types. So when you want to select all the precast concrete columns in one time, so based on a family, select them, click on OK, and all your precast concrete columns are selected. But you can also, for example, select elements on category and level. I want to see all the structural columns on level 1 that are precast. Only the columns on that level are selected. But you can also select on, and here you can see the list on level, rooms, or family, on phases. And I'm going to show you category and properties. You can do this in the active view. Of course, this is already a 3D view, so I see all the elements. But when you're, for example, in a floor plan, you can also say, okay, from model, and then you select not only the elements that are in that specific view, but also elements that are placed on other levels. So I'm going to select, for example, all the structural framings. Now, you can select again on family, on type, or on category. And then you can say, you can select on each property that exists to that category, in my case. So I'm going to select, for example, cut length. And I want to see all the values that are greater than. And here you have a list of all the values that are in your project. Yeah? So I want, for example, you can select an element, or you can add your own value. I want to see all the structural framings with a value bigger than 10 meters. Click on OK, and now they are selected in one time. Yeah? And then, yeah, you have options to, for example, zoom to selection. Well, and it zooms into that kind of selection. So when I click on isolate element, well, here's a list of all the structural framings. So based on category that have a cut length bigger than 10 meters. Very easy tool to select on certain parameters. Yeah? There's also a select tool. I'm going to show this in an architectural file where I have, for example, windows. I'm going to put off my section box. Yeah? So one nice tool when you select a window You have a tool, for example, to say, okay, select my host. Now it's going to select the wall. Very easy one, okay. But in the other direction, you can select also a host, and now I want to select all the elements that are hosted. So again, go to the select tool and select hosted. Now it's going to select all the wall, all the windows, all the doors that are hosted in that wall. Yeah. Very easy tools to select elements based on worksets based on type, based on category, based on a bounding box, and so on. Again, are there questions? I'm going to talk later on where you can download those tools, where you can test them, how you can buy them. So that's later on in this presentation. So there is one thing I want to show you, and kit. That's a very advanced tool, and it's to how I'll say, to map information between several families. And if you want, you can use formulas between those parameters. So for example, I'm going to give you several examples. I'm going to start with a live demonstration, and then I'm going to show you two movies, one for an architectural part, and I'm going to use also a movie for the MEP part. So then you have an idea of several options. So this is to calculate. Okay, the PowerPoint wasn't finished. So it's to calculate formulas. You can use complex rules, conditional formulas. So if bigger than some parameters and so on. You can refer to values of a host. This is the one I'm going to show you live. There's a room and space awareness possibility. So if you want to know, for example, the number of air terminals that are in a space, you can count them and use that count formula in other formulas. But the biggest advantage is that the result of your formula, the result of your rule, is filled in the parameter you want. So you can use shared parameters to use formulas, and you have that result back in your model. So of course everybody knows, who knows Revit, knows how to use calculated values in schedules. That's a good option, but the result is only in your schedule and not back in your project. So I want to see, I'm going to give you right away an example. I'm going to start a new project based on an architectural template. And I'm going to draw some walls. It's equal which wall. And I'm going to add some windows and doors in it. So door, I'm going to select one. Okay, here's a door. Place some doors. Place some windows. Big ones. Okay, there you have one. Oh. And I want to map information between my wall and add those information to my windows and to my doors in one time. No? So I'm going to add shared parameters to my wall and to my doors and my windows. So it doesn't have to be a shared parameter. So for example, if you want to use the mark, use the comments, use the image and so on, you can also use the built-in parameters of Revit to write your result down in one of those built-in parameters. But I'm going to show you some options. So with Content Admin Kit, you can very quick create shared parameters. So of course you can use the default options, but I want to use a shared parameter. Yeah. And I'm going to create a new text file. So of course you can select an existing text file, but I'm going to create my new one. This is something I prepared yesterday to test, but I'm going to create a new one, a new text document, and I'm going to use this webinar live demo. Oh, new one. Open it. So of course there are no shared parameters already in it, so I'm going to add parameters. No? Give it a name. So I want to add a parameter fire rating to my doors, and to my windows, and to my walls. I'm going to group them. The shared parameter I'm going to use is in data about fire. Very easy example. And which type of parameter you want to use. It's text parameter, for example. Okay. So this is a tool to add shared parameters to a file. Now you can manage those parameters, and I want to add the new created parameter in this text file, and I want to add them to, in one time, to my windows, to my walls, and to my doors. Doors, let's see if it, windows and walls. Okay, so you can select several parameters, select the parameter you want to add to them, click on import, and then you can say, okay, group them under, for example, identity data. It has to be an instance parameter. Click on OK, and now in one time you will see that a wall has a parameter fire rating, a door has a parameter fire rating, the windows are having that same parameter. So easy tools to use, but of course you can also use the default parameters to do this. No? And now I'm going to create a link. I'm going to delete this one. This is the one I'm going to show you. I'm going to create a new rule. I'm going to create a copy of an empty rule. Add a name to your rule. This is to map the fire rating. So add a name between wall and door. So which parameter has to be filled in? The parameter fire rating I've created a few seconds ago, but you can also say, okay, the parameter mark has to be used, the parameter comment has to be used, so it can be built-in parameters, shared parameters, project parameters can be used. He has to use the parameter fire rating of the category doors in this case. Okay, and what is the formula? So for example, for the selection you can also use the active selection, so you can create a selection in advance and use that selection. You can use a filter if you want, a parameter filter, only use elements in your active view and so on. So now I want to use all the doors in my project. And the formula is, here you can see several possibilities. Yeah? In our help file you find several examples, several formulas, explain them very well. But in this case I want to use the host. So look at the host. So the door has to look at the host, in this case this wall, and look to the fire rating of that wall and write that result down in the fire rating of that door. I'm going to create a copy of it, also for the windows. Window, so in this case, window. No? I'm not going to activate them right away because I have to. I'm going to show you what it does. So now just click on OK. So I'm going to add a fire rating to my wall. Fire rating out of 60, in this case, or F90. So 60 and 90, and I want to I want to link the fire rating of that wall directly to the fire rating of this window. So here I want to see also out of 60, here I want to see out of 60, here out of 60, and for the other walls and doors out of 90. So you create your rules, you activate them if you want. Be aware that there's also an export tool and an import tool. So when a colleague make these rules, he can export them and you can import them, so you don't have to create them again. You can change the order of your rules and so on. So now I'm click on OK. And now when I select a window, you see automatically it has the fire rating of its host. Yeah. So when you change something, I want to say, okay, this is RF 120. Yeah. You have an update tool. So it doesn't automatically update its values, else Revit will be checking every time, everything you modify, you will check this, so that's not possible to do. So you have to update them manually, but we have created also an option in the settings. You can also say, okay, when I click on save, he also has to update his values or synchronize with central. We are looking to add an extra option that he updates his values when you click on the print button, but that's something we are looking for at this moment. So I have to update the values now, and now you see again all my windows, all my doors have the fire rating of its host directly linked to it. And of course this is a shared parameter, so if you want, you can 3D with annotations. So of course you can use that kind of information in your labeling. So I'm going to delete the mark, for example, and add the fire rating to it with the prefix. Oh no, load into project. It was project 2, I think. No, bad example. Fire rating. Fire rating. I don't see directly what is going wrong, but when you know Revit and it's a shared parameter, you can add them also to your tags, so that when you place your annotation, your fire rating is also, or your own parameter is also filled in your tag. I'm going to show you 2 movies. I'm going to start with an architectural example. So the question is, in this case, for example, somebody who checks a model, and I want to change the type of the door to a bigger width if that room has to be accessible for wheelchairs. So I'm going to add a parameter, a checkbox to a room. So for example, I'm going to wheelchair. So this room that's now selected is accessible for wheelchairs. And you see that there are 2 doors that are too small for wheelchairs. So there's one big enough and there are 2 small enough. So the one in red are not accessible for wheelchairs, and the one wheelchairs. So I hope this is this movie is clear to you all. Well, the rule is easy. If the parameter wheelchair in your room is active, so if the room is accessible for wheelchairs and the width of the door is smaller than a certain value, smaller than 1.5 meters, he has to change the type. So you can also, with the content element kit, you can not only create formulas between several parameters, you can also say, okay, if this type doesn't fit in those rules, you have to change the type of your door. So he has to change the type to a type with a bigger width. And then I'm going to click on OK, and then you will see that the too small will be changed to another type. Very easy tool, but this is more example your information in your project. Another tool, another option. And this is something for MEP. Big movie, it's 3 minutes, but it shows how you can count elements. So in this case, I want to calculate the airflow according to a certain local standard. So you can create your local standard to it. So the formulas that are used in this movie are very big. I want to divide that that calculated airflow through the number of air terminals that are in a space. So I'm going to start in this movie with placing spaces. No? So just then you see that the supply and the return value in my tag is still 0. You can add, of course, a name to your space, and here you select it. And then according to a key schedule, so this is still Revit with its fold options. But then I'm going to place air terminals. So I want to calculate for this living room, I want to calculate according to a certain standard, and then he has to divide that airflow through the number of air terminals. So you see that each air has a flow of more than 800 cube per hour. So several rules, easy to create. No? He is going to calculate the theoretical flow using a certain standard. So he has to check if the than a minimum flow and not bigger than a maximum flow. He has to calculate, this is a nice one, he has to count that are in a space, and then he has to divide the specified supply airflow through the number of air terminals that in our space. When I click on OK, he does several things. You see he calculates the supply airflow and he counts the number of air terminals, so 4 air terminals in that space, and he divided that theoretical supply airflow to the number of air terminals, and there you see that it's 38 cubic per hour. So I'm going to add 2 more air. You see that the airflow is divided again through the number of air terminals. For example, I'm going to do the same with the kitchen. The kitchen is not, but is return. For the Belgian market, I'm going to add 2 air terminals. When you click, just the return airflow is calculated and divided by the number of air terminals in that space. Okay, questions? I hope that you have the idea of the Content Admin Kit, but it's a very big tool, an advanced tool. You can now you can use formulas between shared parameters, built-in parameters, use them in tags, use them in annotation. So when you export your model, for example, to Navisworks, to EFC and so on, you can also add that information to your Navisworks model, to your EFC model, and so on. So it's not only to check things, it's also to create rules, to map information, to tag that information in your Revit model. So you can see you create your own rules according to a local standard to create, for example, to calculate your airflow to your local standard and use that result back in your air terminals. So if you want, for example, to know how many lightning fixtures are in a room, you can count them, you can number them. So when you select your space, for example, in Navisworks, that you see directly, okay, I have 4 lightning fixtures, I have 3 electrical fixtures in that wall, and so on. Yeah. Is everything clear? Can somebody give me an what feedback? If this is clear. Okay, thank you. So I hope I can convince you with this webinar to use a tool, to use those tools, to experiment with them, to test them out, and yeah, try them. So now I'm going to give you some little information about the price and where to download them. So the price, I'm not going to discuss this in detail. We can make you an offer for your own company. But if you want user, you see the price, 320 euros. If you need multiple licenses, we have packages for less than 10 licenses and for more than 10 licenses. This is for one site. So when you have a company with several sites, and you want to use those licenses in several sites, we have an additional fee for this one. So, but let me know if you want to discuss them. Where you can buy them, we have a website. I'm going to show this right away. So our website is BIMiTs.eu. There you can find more information about prices, but also trials, the help file, movies. I'm going to show this right away. So the information on the web, of course, our website. There is on the Autodesk Exchange, there is the BIMiTs data. Download a trial and find more information. And our website, of course, where you can also have the help file. Let's show this website. So you go to BIMiTs.eu. Several languages, so I'm going to use the English language. Here you can find the BIMiTs extension, so information about BIMiTs data, like BIMiTs extensions and or content. So for BIMiTs extensions, here you find a trial. You can also buy the tools, and we have here the BIMiTs extension movies, what about all our tools. So also on YouTube, just go to YouTube, type in BIMiTs, and you find directly all our movies. A good tool when you want to know more information, how it works, which options you have. You have also here a help file. Then you can select each tool, the information about each tool. For example, Content Admin Kit, how to use a shared parameter manager, how it works, how to manage the formulas. Here you can find, for example, all the formulas, all the available operator and functions you can use with an example, with the explanation of them. So how the cont tool works, a message box if you want, and so on. And also practical examples for architects, structural engineers, and MEP examples. Yeah. So check them out. Data link, also workshop drawings, not discussed in this presentation, but all our tools, all our BIMiTs extensions are available on our website. So I'm almost at the end of my presentation. Yeah. So movies available on our YouTube channel. Check them out. Voilà. And this is the end of the webinar. So are there any questions? I know there are some existing clients who are following this webinar. So I hope also you learned a lot of our tools, maybe new possibilities to use them. But again, we develop on demand. So let me know which tools are missing. At this moment, we are already discussing new tools for Revit 2016. So the extensions that are not available for today are the tools that are working for Revit 2014 and 2015. And we are now already developing new tools. I have seen already some tests. There are some great and big tools coming up. So still let me know if you're missing something, some things that can improve your productivity, and we look forward to develop them and spread them out to all our clients. I have a question. Can you show us the material legend? Yes, why not? So let's go to Revit. Let's go to the architectural file. And I'm going to create a new legend. A new legend. And let's material legend. I'm going to place. So this still is the same. You have to place a legend component so he knows a reference point. And then you can use material legend. Okay, it has to be a drafting view. Excuse me. A view and drafting view. So material. Okay. And then material legend. Active view is not drafting view. You're not. It is. What's missing? Okay. Then you have, you can use materials of about a certain view. I'm not going to discuss this in detail, but I'm going to Christopher, I'm going to send you more information, but I'll send it to everybody. More information about those tools. A floor material legend. Normally you have here good question, but I'm missing something. Level text distance between rows. Okay. Available patterns. So all the legends. Okay. So it's okay. So you want a material legend by category. This is something you're looking for, and not a material legend of your whole project. Now, Christopher, this is what you want. I will. Good question. I will discuss this with my developer or the developers of the tools. So an option to create a material legend by category. So you can say, okay, give me a legend, a material legend about the walls, about the floors, about the roofs, and so on. Okay, I will discuss you, and I will send this information to everybody if it's possible or not, and when this will be available. I'll discuss this. Okay, good question. Other questions? No, no more questions. Okay. So like I said, I will send you an email with the presentation, with the PowerPoint, and a link to this webinar, so you can check them. You can see it again if you want, or send it to a colleague or somebody else. Let me know what you find of this tool, of those tools, what you're missing, what you want to improve. And we're open to discuss everything. Thank you for this for your present, and thank you, and talk to you soon. Thank you, and bye.